wherever you are in the world. I'm the idol to give you the wings to fly, Cyber Angel, Rita Kamishiro, at your service. How is everyone doing today? Welcome in. Hello, Seg. Hello, Red. Hello, Bio. Hello, Puck Puck. Hello, Shiny. Welcome, welcome, Ivan, Spidey, Zents. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing today? Let's start off with that. As per usual, how is everyone doing? Good, maybe not good. Hello, Drex. Welcome in. Ren just woke up from a nap. Oh, hope you're well rested. Hopefully it's not one of those naps where you wake up and you feel even more tired than you were before. Hopefully it's not one of those. Oh no, Isekai Boke's just feeling a little sick. I hope you feel better soon. But I'm happy you're happy that we're all here today. Better than yesterday. I feel that. I can agree with that. I guess that's a good sort of like segue. I guess we could segue relatively quickly into kind of what we're talking about today. And I'm actually gonna turn off this music in a little bit. For whatever reason, well, I don't know, it might help. Sometimes when I'm trying to have serious conversations, like music could like distract me, and it can make me a lot less eloquent than I already am. So we'll see how we'll see how it affects my brain train. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, I'll segue using that sort of comment that you put in the chat. But yesterday we played the 5th chapter of Until Then, a game that talks about a lot of really heavy things that our main character Mark has gone through, and a lot of those things that he experienced sort of I don't know, how would you describe it? It all kind of came crashing down, almost. It all kind of climaxed, I guess you could say. Everything that's been going on in his life and in his friends' lives kind of reached like a very major point. And they really dug deep into a lot of these experiences that have shaped who they are and how they feel and how they interact with the world and the people around them. And it was a lot. I think that's something we could all agree on, is that it was a lot to go through. And I love talking about these sorts of conversations or these sorts of experiences. But sometimes it's good to kind of just like let yourself feel your feelings, calm down, and let yourself cool off and kind of like sort of form your thoughts and your ideas once you've kind of cooled down a little bit, if that makes sense. So after stream, I kind of went off, did some crafts, made some food, and then I sat down and then I journaled some things. I'm gonna turn off this music. It's a little distracting. I apologize. Let me see. And I apologize. I might not be as good about looking at chat. I think reading things and also processing my own thoughts in my own head about serious things can be a little difficult. So I'll look occasionally, but I'm going to try to form sort of whole thoughts and paragraphs before I kind of check in with everyone in between. So where was I? I basically wrote down some of my thoughts. I wanted to have these conversations with you all, and I have done this before with video games and anime that we talk about, primarily because I think it's important to build understanding, not just about maybe things that you yourself might experience or things that your loved ones have experienced, but other individual struggles that maybe you yourself haven't experienced before. And I think having these conversations about these topics and these experiences helps us understand one another, right? Have that empathy and compassion for one another. And it also reduces the stigma associated with talking about these sorts of things, right? mental health, uh, specific to the game, self-harm, and abuse. And I do want to take a moment to pause. In the description, I put a little note, and I want to take a second to bring it up now. This stream, at least the first half of the stream, I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the chapter or the game, which we will play later on. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else is going to be talked about. But I know this first half is going to be a little difficult. There's going to be some topics that may be a little triggering, difficult to think about. And while I think it is important to have these conversations to, like I said, understand one another, build this sort of supportive community, preparing ourselves for future experiences we may have, I can understand that maybe at a certain time it may not be appropriate, right? Maybe it's a little much. Kind of like how yesterday, I was like, let's call it for a day. There's a lot to process, and I want to be able to process it with a clear head because I want to have these conversations with you all. So if it's a little much at the moment, that's totally okay. Take some time. To maybe you can join us for VOD Gang. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you when we see you. But yes, continuing on about why I think it's important to have these conversations about these topics. And I think, talking about them through the lens of video games and anime is a great way to make them accessible. It allows us to see how other people may react and kind of help us understand how we might react or how we might behave or other people might react or behave. And, what lessons we could learn from them. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to be looking at my notes. I wrote down a lot of stuff. So you'll have to forgive me while I kind of scroll through my notes. It's like a lot of it was like notes app because I was in my bed and then I like put them on a Google Doc. So it's very stream of consciousness. Another sort of point I did want to make is, as a content creator, I try to have these sorts of conversations to normalize thinking and discussing difficult topics like this. But, I am just a girl on the internet. If you find you want to have maybe more individualized discussions, because of course I'm going to be speaking in a broad sense and also speaking from my own experiences, right? They may not be conducive to your experiences. If you seek something more individualized, or if you need more professional, support, this is the place to do so. I don't think I can offer you that sort of support that you would need. So I just wanted to put that out there. I did link some resources in the description if you wanted to check those out. But yeah, I just wanted to put that sort of disclaimer there as well. So I guess how I wanted to start this conversation, I went back and I sort of highlighted the major points of last stream. And there were three things I figured were kind of the three big things that stood out to me. And there's only so much I can process, right? Maybe I'll go back and I'll think about the other things, but I narrowed it down to three big points that I wanted to talk about today. And the first thing was the argument between Mark and Nicole. Also, spoiler alert for last stream, I'm going to be explaining sort of like the background for each topic. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you might want to go check out the chapter first. But yes, the first event I guess I wanted to go over was the argument with Nicole in her friend Jake's abandoned home. So the lead up to that was we as in Mark, was finally getting this sort of breakthrough from Nicole, right? She had, stepped away from the piano for whatever reason. We find that reason out later. And he was slowly encouraging her to open up, to find her joy in piano again. And just when he had convinced Nicole to join the piano club and, chase that joy that she has from piano, we find out she dropped out last minute. And Mark was very confused by that. Nicole was also, I guess, feeling upset that because she was thinking that Mark was angry with her. And she felt like, he just doesn't understand what I'm going through. And she sort of tells herself, I'm going to bring Mark with me on this trip to my hometown and try to help him understand what I'm going through. And that what she's going through is the loss of her friend, Jake, and how that sort of kept her from being able to move on, right? Because, what she's trying to explain to Mark, like why she decided to drop out, why she is unable to move on. So this is the first topic of grief. And I guess I want to talk a little bit about Nicole's grief, but also a little bit about why there was that sort of disconnect between the two of them, because they did argue. They did end up having an argument. And you feel free to in the chat if you want to sort of chime in and offer your own experiences. Again, I will kind of check the chat at every sort of stopping point, I guess. I'm kind of just scrolling through my stream of consciousness, scribbling in my journal. But yeah, this idea of how grief has kept her from being able to move on. Grief is this sadness, this emotional experience or response that we have to loss. And it doesn't have to just be death. It could be like a major life change. It could be a loss of maybe like not a life, but maybe like a friend. Not like death, but like, maybe someone stopped being your friend, like someone who was a good friend to you. Maybe you lost a job, you lost your home, a major life change. And it encompasses a huge like range of emotions. We've seen, I think you probably have heard like the 5 stages of grief, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And we kind of see that a little bit in Nicole. But she's going through this period of grief, and she's trying to help Mark understand like how you had just agreed to join the piano club. I thought you had been able to move on. So why are you suddenly deciding not to be part of the piano club again? And I think it really highlights how grief is very much not a straight path, right? A lot of times people think like, oh, if I'm over something, I'm over it, right? It's good as gone. But I talked a little bit about this the other day about how grief can like ebb and flow. It can come back, maybe over time it'll heal, but grief doesn't have a set process or set timeline. I think it's really important to understand that just because somebody may seem to be doing better or it seems like they've moved on, that grief may still exist. They may not have fully healed or moved on from that grief. Talking a little bit about that conversation they had, right? Because Nicole was going through a very emotional, trying to open up to Mark. And I think Mark, in seeing that, obviously wanted to try to understand her. And I wrote down some quotes from the game. I went back and I looked at the game. I was timestamping the game, and I wrote down some quotes I thought, were very impactful. Of course, Mark tries to soothe her, right? Make her feel better. And he says something along the lines of, it doesn't matter now, right? Let me see. Where did I put the full quote up there? He says, oh gosh, where did I put it? I'm telling you, my notes are super chicken scratch. He says, oh gosh, maybe I should control F it. He says, it doesn't matter now. What matters is that we're here for each other and we don't have to live like this anymore. And I see where he's coming from. And it's very well intentioned, I think. Obviously, he wants to explain to her, like, I'm here for you, right? Maybe I don't fully understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you, right? You know, you don't have to stay stuck in this grief keeping you in the past. And what's really cool is that this, I'll talk a little bit about this later, not cool, but sort of in a storytelling way that the game kind of highlights, is that this conversation with Mark actually mirrors this conversation he has with himself later on, right? Because we know that Mark is actually also going through a similar experience. And in talking to Nicole, he is able to have this same conversation with himself later, a conversation that he had been putting off for a long time. And I think that really highlights the importance of discussing your feelings and your experiences, because it's a really powerful way to process and deal with things, right? Kind of seeing this experience mirrored in Nicole allowed him to process externally, right? Because he wasn't ready to face his own, I guess, grief. And processing it with Nicole, I guess, mirrored onto his own experience. But anyway, back to what I was saying. He had a good intention, right, in trying to make her feel, I don't know, not alone, right? But I think at least Nicole felt that his words sort of minimized what she was experiencing, right? And I think a lot of times, and I've definitely been guilty of that, right? Focusing so much on the solution that you're not addressing the effect, if that makes sense, right? Because it's cause, effect, solution, right? The cause being this grief that she's experienced. This effect being how she's feeling and how she's reacting. And the solution, of course, is, fixing that effect. And I think a lot of times we are very, because we want to help people. And that's the beauty of, being human, right? Is that we want to help people. We don't want to see people suffer, right? That's totally normal. But I think we often focus so much on the solution that we don't focus on the effect. And that can feel really invalidating for someone. Like, you're not really seeing what I'm going through, right? You're just so focused on getting rid of the problem that you're not addressing how I feel in the moment. So I think that the takeaway there is, like, it's really important to validate how they feel, right? Rather than dismissing it. This is odd. There's actually a Steven Universe episode. I think it was an episode about Garnet, specifically Sapphire and Ruby. And the two of them had an argument because Sapphire is able to see the future and Ruby was going through something, an emotional something. And Sapphire being able to see the future, she's like, oh, I already know this is going to be fixed. It's going to be fine. I know the solution. I'll fix it. And was totally dismissive of, the anger and the sadness that Ruby had felt throughout the episode. And they had this very heated conversation, but a very important conversation about how Ruby was like, I don't care. Like, I know we can fix it. I know it's going to be fixed, but what I really want is to know that you can see me for, like, what I'm going through, right? I want you to feel like that with me. Does that make sense? I want to feel seen. I want my emotions to be validated. A similar, and you all are going to hate me for this. I think a similar experience can be thought about in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with Mio. And spoiler alert, for those who haven't seen this game, uh, Mio is anxious about her time. She only has a certain amount of time left to live. And the team had agreed to take a detour from their goal to try to find the city and try to find a way to extend their life, right? They take a detour to help out a colony that had helped them out. So, Mio had agreed to this. She, and along with the rest of the team, but she had kind of had this emotional outburst with Noah about how she was scared and she was worried. And Noah, of course, well-intentioned, wanting to, not see her full of sorrow and fear, was confused. Like, you agreed to this. It's gonna be fine. Like, we'll figure this out. But, Mio, she knows, like, they're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be fine. But I think in that moment, she really just wanted someone to empathize with her, right? And I think, and like she knows she agreed to that. She knows that, like, this is something that she agreed to do. I feel like she understood, like, the logical stuff behind everything, right? She knew, like, taking this detour was invaluable, right? Trying to give back to the people who helped them. But I think, she just wanted to feel validated in her fear and her anxieties. So, yeah, I think the takeaway from that is trying to focus on the effect a little bit more than just jumping right away into the solutions. But of course, this is a person to person. If you're able to have this conversation with a friend, maybe not when they're having a crisis, right? But if it ever comes up, like, how are ways, like, that I can support you if you're going through a difficult time? Like, are you a kind of person who wants, to be validated emotionally, or are you the kind of person who feels anxious when they don't have a solution right away and they want to just solve it, right? First, and then maybe we can address your feelings after your anxieties have been assuaded, or maybe does it depend on each experience? Like, do you want me to ask, like a case by case basis thing? But there's a couple of more notes that I have specifically for this topic. But while I try to gather my thoughts, what do you all think so far? I don't know if you have any sort of takeaways or things you wanted to add. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. That's a good point, Fortune Cookie. Kind of offering that reassurance to someone. And I think also one thing that, could be good food for thought, and it's just something that I've experienced previously, and I've seen other people go through this experience as well. But for some people, rather than saying, everything will be okay, especially for people who are very anxious, like, always assuming, like, the worst and things like that, I think for those people especially, trying to say, instead of everything will be okay, right? Instead saying, I don't know and I don't know how things are going to pan out in the future, right? I can't control the future. I can't say for certainty what's going to happen. But, no matter the outcome, like, I'm here, right? I'll be here with you through thick and thin. That I found that's very helpful. So something that you can kind of think about and see if it's, I don't know, just consider it, ponder it. Yeah. But a little bit back to the sort of conversation that Nicole and Mark had. I think a lot of that stemmed from this idea of misunderstanding. And I feel like I used up most of my brain cells on the first half of that conversation. That, and I'm running out of bullet points from my little journaling session. But I think it really highlights the importance of, like, having open and honest conversations about how you feel, your experiences, instead of assuming what people might be going through. I think that could have that could have helped them. I think it could have been beneficial for them. And I think one of the sort of gaps in understanding was that Nicole didn't know that Mark had gone through something similar, and so she had said kind of like, because not only Nicole wasn't the only one hurt in this argument, right? Mark also hurt as well. Nicole had said to him something like, "You don't understand, right? You have so many friends you can go to, and you couldn't understand what I'm going through." When in actuality, he did. And I feel like if Mark had been able to, obviously he couldn't. He was going through his own sort of thing. But if that was an understanding there, maybe Nicole wouldn't have hurt him like that. Why do I think Nicole snapped at Mark? From my understanding is that she was trying to open up to him, right, about her experience. And I think she felt like Mark was being dismissive of that. I mentioned it earlier, saying things like, "It doesn't matter now, like, what matters is that I'm here for you now, and you don't have to live like this anymore." And I think for Nicole, it just felt really isolating. She was saying, like, you don't understand. Like, this is like, you said you wanted to understand, or like she felt like Mark never really got the chance to understand what she was going through. Remember that? I think she was saying like, Mark was saying like, "Yo, how was I supposed to know, or how was I supposed to understand if you'd never opened up to me?" And she was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean I've never told you anything?" So I think she felt isolated, and I think that's why she snapped at Mark. Yeah. But I guess that's kind of where I wanted to wrap up for the first part, right? Because there was 3 sections that I wanted to talk about from last time. And I guess to kind of put a nice little bow on this section is that idea of the cause-effect solution and finding time to address the effect, right? Empathizing with people, having compassion for them, especially when they're feeling really big emotions, rather than jumping straight to solutions. Presence is powerful. Maybe you don't have all the answers, but knowing that you're not alone going through something, knowing that even if something turns out bad rather than good, that you have someone supporting you, right? Remember, she was like, "You don't understand, right? You have all these friends, you have all these people who can understand you." I think she was seeking that, someone to understand her. So yeah, what did I say just now? Presence is power, I think. But yeah. And the idea that grief isn't linear. And I'll talk a little bit more about grief as we go into this next section. Because this is the main, not the main thing, but because Mark is our main character, I guess this is the main thing. So pause before I move on to another major conversation. It's 3, okay? We got through 1, so water check in. How's everyone doing? And remember, at any given time, if the conversation becomes a little too much, if certain topics are rather triggering, or if it becomes overwhelming, please, no shame in stepping away from your computer, closing the YouTube app on your phone, right, and taking some time to take care of yourself. It's not weak, right, to not be able to have these conversations at the moment, right? While they are important, I think what's important is your psychological safety. So just want to give that friendly little reminder. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Mark's experience. And I had mentioned earlier how Nicole's experience really mirrored what Mark had gone through. And in having this discussion with Nicole, I think that really allowed Mark to address his grief with his mother. Because remember, this entire time, both him and his father had been clinging onto this hope that Mark's mom might still be alive somewhere. For those who don't know, Mark's mother had gotten to a tragic plane accident, and Mark and his dad spent days looking for where she might be, hoping that she's alive. And even as months pass, and the chances that Mark's mom is unfortunately deceased is practically 100%. Both Mark and his dad pretend that she still might be out somewhere, right? Holding on to hope, and hope isn't a bad thing, right? But I'll talk a little bit more about balancing hope, right, and getting yourself stuck in this cycle of being stuck in the past, if that makes sense. Let me scroll down to my notes now. Well, I guess I'll talk a little bit about sort of this coping mechanism that Mark and his dad utilized. And it's this idea of denial. They sort of kept sending emails to the mom, right, Maria, as if she was still alive, as if she may still come back. They refused to tell anybody about what had happened, right? Because that makes it more real, right? When other people are able to understand that. Denial, I think, is this coping mechanism that some people might have to grief, right? And it may not just be death. We talked about this earlier. It could be something like losing a friendship, major life change, things like that. They sort of kind of protect themselves from the reality of their grief, right? That's sort of the impact of that. It kind of dampens that impact. It dampens that feeling of grief, right? And while when you're initially experiencing this grief, it can act as a sort of buffer so that, you're not inundated with so much sorrow and so much grief, right? Because I feel like this sort of buffer can maybe slow down that sort of, like I said, that sort of immense amount of grief that you experience from a major life change or a loss. That's sort of part of the natural, I think, experience of grief. But if it becomes something that lasts for a long time, or prevent you from moving on or actually processing your emotions, then it can become an issue, I think. I mentioned that hope isn't a bad thing to have, right? They had hope for a long time that maybe she's still out there somewhere, especially in the early stages. I don't think that's a bad thing, right? To hope that maybe a search party can find her and things like that. It like I said, it kind of offers this buffer, right? So you're not inundated with all of that grief all at once, right? Kind of slows down the impact of that news. And I think it's a sort of like comfort, right, in a situation that feels so bleak. I think it can be a powerful thing when you're experiencing so much grief. But I think there is a point where it's important to realize when hope becomes like a blinded hope, if that makes sense. And it's, again, preventing you from facing your reality and your emotions, and preventing you from processing your grief. And I feel like that's a difficult conversation, right? When does it turn from hope into, something that shackles me to my past? I don't know. I don't really think I didn't journal anything about that, but I just thought about it just now. Let me see, what else do I have in my notes? Gosh. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Um, but that's kind of like explaining, you know, why they did what they did. Um, I think Mark really wanted to have some sort of like normalcy, and I think that's why he had put it off for so long. Um, I think he really just didn't want to accept that he had lost his mother. And that's why he had sort of lived this lie, because he wasn't ready to accept that. Um, I think he was seeking some sort of like normalcy, right? When you lose somebody, that's a major life change, right? Um, it's again like scary, and I think by both him and his dad pretending that she's maybe just gone for a little bit, I think that helped them feel like life is still normal. I think they were afraid of like moving on without her. Maybe they felt some sort of guilt if they were to stop looking. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how we can help others, but also ourselves, overcome grief. I want to give this sort of like analogy that I've given a lot about the cabinet. Yes, the grief cabinet is coming back. Grief is kind of like a full cabinet, right? Lots of plates, kind of haphazardly organized. And if you were to open the cabinet, all the plates would fall out and break. And that's very similar to your grief, right? If you keep your emotions inside, right? Maybe you can pretend like everything's normal, you know, it'll be fine, right? Just don't open the door and the plates won't fall and break. And well, sure, like yeah, no, nothing will break, nothing will, but nothing will change. And you won't be able to use those plates even. And maybe someday someone will, like something could open that door, and you still have the issue of these plates that could fall and break at any moment. But as difficult as opening that cabinet is, right? Like opening up, having these conversations, confronting your grief. Yes, you'll have these plates that will break. It'll feel terrible. You might feel scared. Once you're able to sort of address that internal issue, you now have a cabinet that you can use. Maybe you can even put in new plates and new silverware, things that you might put in a cabinet. But yeah, I think I just wanted to offer that as a sort of like segue into this idea of how we can overcome grief. I think the first thing is allowing yourself to feel grief. That idea of opening, like actually just opening the cabinet. Sadness is normal. Anger is normal. Or maybe you don't feel anything. Maybe there's a lack of emotion when you normally would. Maybe you feel numb. I think even though it feels bad, you can address an issue, right? Until you look at the cause and the effect. So by allowing yourself to open the cabinet, right? Have this difficult conversation with yourself is the first step. I think if in times you feel that the grief is so unbearable, I think reaching out to friends to support you, reaching out to family to support you, other people who might be experiencing a similar or may have experienced something similar. I could offer you, kind words or practical advice, reaching out to professional individuals to help you process your grief. I think it's a great way to feel a lot less isolated, because I think like in the discussion with Nicole, her main thing was, or at least in that argument that she had with Mark, is that she felt isolated. She felt like people couldn't understand her, and she felt alone in trying to process her grief. I think, let me see. Let me take a look at my notes. Sorry. When I thought about this, I really kind of just like started typing in my notes app. I think one of the things is understanding that, like, we talked about this earlier. Grief isn't a linear thing. You have to be patient with yourself. Don't get frustrated if you feel like you're taking a step backward. Don't feel frustrated that it's taking so long. Don't feel frustrated that it hurts so much. Be patient with yourself. Sorry, water. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself some grace. There's no timeline. There's no sort of right way to do it. there's just like not doing it, right? Going through that process of processing your grief. Sorry, I use the word process twice. I'm telling you, I can get really not eloquent. I'll do my best to sort of explain my chicken scratch that I typed in my notes app into something eloquent. I hope that even if I do seem kind of rambly, I hope that you're able to take away something from this conversation. Maybe you have a conversation with yourself or with a friend. Maybe it helps you realize that you need to have a more serious conversation with a trusted individual or a professional. But whatever the case may be, I hope that you're able to take something away from today. How could we help other people who are experiencing grief? Of course, Mark wanted to be there for Nicole. Kathy was able to be there for Mark when he was experiencing this grief. I think, this is a great point. Mark going through this sort of, he called it waking up, right? And thank goodness Kathy was there for him. I think this was a very emotionally intense period he was going through, this experience. And having Kathy there to just listen, right, allowed him to have this conversation. Not just to her, but to himself about what had happened, right? Because he was finally ready to address the situation, face his reality. And like I said, it's so difficult to have that conversation with ourselves, right? You see how long he's been bottling this up inside and not having this conversation with himself. But similar to him talking to Nicole about her experience, him being able to just tell Kathy from the very beginning what had happened, right, allowed him to have that conversation to himself. Because technically, yes, he was talking to Kathy, but in a way, he was having that conversation with himself as well, right? Kathy was there to listen, and kind of just validate him, right? Like I didn't realize that had happened. Like that, wow, that must have been, a lot. Things like that. If you have a friend who's going through grief, being able to allow them to say what they have to say, or share how they're feeling, share the memory, right, the experience, without judgment. I think that's not only a way for them to externalize their feelings, but also it's comforting, right? I think a lot of us are very quick to be like, it's gonna be okay, right? Of course like cheering them up is important, right? But when they're trying to feel their sadness or feel their anger, trying to be too quick on the, okay, just feel happy. What's that one meme where it's like, you're sad? Oh, just feel happy. Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Right? Prematurely, trying to cheer them up. Again, we experience this in the conversation with Nicole, can feel dismissive, right? Saying things like, I can understand why you'd feel that way. Or like, you're valid. Like, oh yeah, I would feel upset too. Right? It helps them feel validated. Oh, I just said that. But, don't dismiss their feelings. It could feel minimizing if you just kind of wave it away, right? Their sadness or their anger. So yeah, just, I'm so sorry for what you had gone through. I can't imagine that feeling. Like, you're valid for feeling angry in that situation. You're valid for feeling sad in that situation. I think is validating. But yeah, in addition to validating their feelings, eventually you also want to be there to offer advice, practical advice. And oh my gosh, this is such a great, I literally just thought about this. Oh my gosh. Not just like, how can you fix the situation, right? And I speak from personal experience, in times where I felt like grief or like profound sadness. It's a bummer. I mean, evidently, it's like being sad and grieving takes up so much energy. And, not only should you, if it's welcome, right, offer some practical advice of how they can address the situation, maybe there's even an in-between step between validating their emotions and offering practical advice for their situation. Trying to offer them like practical, like day-to-day help, right? Grief is extensive. It takes up so much mental energy that things that they may have been able to do normally, like make food, before even that, get groceries, things like or I don't know, like I don't know, just like day-to-day things, like errands, I guess. Being able to help them through that. Because, like I said, grief, yeah, getting up, right? And also, like, not shaming them for that. I've been with... Can I like, this is a little TMI. I don't know, maybe this will help validate people, but I remember one time I was really going through it, and I always felt so bad because I'm a morning person, and it was just so hard to get up. And I not only was it was like I would get up later in the day. I say later in the day, but it's like 11 or 12. That's late for me, okay? And that really threw off my groove, but also I would be upset with myself, like, oh gosh, like I can't even like do that, or if it makes sense. And having someone be there to say like, hey, it's okay, like you're going through something, like that's normal, like how can I help you when you don't have the sort of emotional energy in general that you normally do, because that energy is allocated towards you going through this experience. Can I get you like water? That's really small, but like, do you need water? Like, this is my roommate back in Cyber Angel training. One of the things, I was really going through it at one point, and I was like moping in bed, and she like opened the blinds and was like, Rita, do you want me to play your happy song? And I was like, yes. And then she played Monster Generation by Idolish 7. And didn't laugh at me when I sadly sang the song to myself as I got out of bed. I think being there for people in offering practical support, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So offering solutions and help isn't just like addressing the situation itself, but it may be things like that. How can I be there for you in this situation? And the situation isn't just in the moment, maybe in that moment of crisis, but grief is extensive, and its effects last a long time. How can I help you? Like, do you need to have a conversation with your family? I think I don't know, like things like that, if that makes sense. You know, Yeah, yeah. I think just being there for them and allowing them the space to grieve without judgment, I think is helpful. Let me see if I have any more notes uh, before I move on to the last section. Um, I wanted to point out ways you might see this because of course in the game you'll see the characters go through uh, kind of you get to see them react to their experiences. So while I kind of wrap up this section, if you all want to sort of offer your final thoughts on this second topic, by all means, please do. Um, I think one of the major things that we saw in Mark, but you also see in Nicole too, in their grief, is avoiding. Obviously, with Mark and his dad, they avoided the reality of uh, their loss with Maria. But in the case of Nicole, she couldn't bear to play piano, at least in the beginning. It would remind her of Jake. And this thing that she used to love doing, right? It used to bring her so much joy. Uh, she avoided because it reminded her of Jake. I think there's also this idea of Nicole avoiding, not avoiding, what's the word I'm looking for? Withdrawing, right? She didn't want to be part of the piano club. You know, if you notice someone maybe kind of not joining their usual like club activities, avoiding their friends, withdrawing from, people, I think that's also a very common sign. Of course, sadness, anger is something. Oh my gosh, here's a major one. Uh, one of the things that you could see in people who are grieving is regret or guilt. Oh, it was absolutely devastating hearing Mark talk about how he was like, it's my fault that mom got on that plane and she unfortunately got into the accident, because if I hadn't asked for so much, then she wouldn't have, they wouldn't have had to go overseas to work, and it's all my fault. Right? That was one of the major things in the very beginning. It's your fault. Was that sort of brain worm that he had. And I think people who are grieving often, you know, experience that guilt over things before the loss that they perceive as something that may have caused the loss. And I don't know why that might happen. Maybe it's a way to kind of explain things or have a sense of control or understanding in a time where things don't make any sense. But I think a lot of people who grieve may experience that regret or guilt, right? Mark at one point even said he wasn't worth it. Yeah. Gosh. Goodness. I think he felt a lot of loneliness. I think people who grieve feel a lot of loneliness. And we saw this, like I said before, with Nicole. She felt isolated, right? She felt like no one could understand her, of what she was going through, right? When you see someone go through a lot of joyful things and you're going through immense sadness, it feels isolating, right? Like they're living almost like a totally different world than I do. I think Mark experiences a lot of anxiety and fear, right? I think for him, I think we see it a lot throughout the game, is because he had this experience with his mom in the plane accident. Things having to do with planes was very triggering with him, and he found himself very like anxious or fearful, and maybe about the fact that oh, I don't want to feel that experience. Like, I don't want to feel that sadness again. And so when he catches himself kind of like, this might remind me of what I'm trying to not think about, he might start feeling kind of like scared or fearful or anxious. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else in the game that may have clued into uh, their grief. Mm. Mm. It's not sadness, more like fear of planes. It could be, for sure. I think, yeah, maybe he also was like, I don't want to go on a plane. What if that happens to me? Or like, what if, when my dad comes home, like, what if that happens to him, sort of thing. But it could also be that, planes remind him of the accident. And that, the accident makes him feel sadness and anger and, guilt. Boogie says, it's crazy how this game inspires so much introspection. Yes, I love emotional experiences in video games and anime, books, things like that, because it allows us to have these conversations we don't normally get to have. And we're able to kind of understand ourselves, understand each other, reduce the stigma about these very difficult topics. And yeah, I do this a lot. I know it can be a lot for some people. I know, games can be very much a escape. It can be a way to have fun, and of course, like that's definitely one of the things you can use games for. But I think games and anime as storytelling devices have a great ability to allow people to think deeply. Yeah, so that's why I love doing this, having these sorts of conversations about the games we play. And I talk a little bit about it as we play the game, but I kind of wanted to reach a point where it's like, okay, I feel like I can talk about this now that we have like the full backstory, and now that I've kind of like felt my feelings from the game and I can process this. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's keep going. But yeah, to kind of, I'll go ahead and just wrap up on that one. If you want to share other signs of grief that maybe, whether it's physical or emotional, like behavioral, that you might see in someone who is experiencing grief. So you might be able to be there for them when they are. But yeah. The last thing, well, let me pause there. Remind folks that if they do need to take a second to take a break, please do so. I do have important notes and reminders in the description for this stream specifically, since we're having a very difficult conversation. Hydration check. Yes, I talked about that earlier, about how one of the sort of behaviors that you might see in someone experiencing grief is isolation. Kind of withdrawing themselves from the usual social circles, from their friends. That is definitely one of the sort of signs of grief, for sure. Just one off the top of my head. I can't think of a specific scene in the game, but physical signs as well. Exhaustion, always feeling tired, always feeling fatigued. Being usually stemming from being unable to sleep. I think we actually here's a good sort of example from the game. Somebody had pointed it out in chat that the emails he would send to his mom were often like super late at night, right? 11 p.m., midnight. I think that's the time of the day where you're the most alone, right? You're about to head to bed, and it's just you and your thoughts. And when you're going through something like this, you can find yourself having a lot of conversations with yourself, and that might be, I think, now that I think about it, I think early on in the game they were like, oh, you didn't finish the project, or you're staying up playing Dark Fiends. Like maybe, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he had stayed up, grieving and thinking a lot, and that might have kept him from sleeping. Um, yeah. Mm. But yeah, trying to think of anything else. Uh, I think not being able to focus on things. We saw this in Mark when he had the weird like chromatic aberration thing. He like tried to go out and have fun with his friends, right? Hang out and play games. But what we initially thought was a supernatural sort of thing, right? It was actually just grief. I think that was a really interesting sort of thing that Louise, and really fascinating that Louise, I did, unfortunately, Louise isn't one of the points that I had. But remember, they had spent so much time thinking, like, oh, it's not a mind thing, right? Maybe it's the supernatural phenomenon, when in actuality, a lot of people were grieving. Um, you know, anyway, Mark was unable to focus, right, on the now, right? He wasn't able to be present with his friends because he was so affected by his grief. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna stop it there. Wrap up on that topic, and then, oh my gosh, it's already been an hour. Isn't that crazy? Don't worry, we'll get to the game. I just really wanted to spend time on this because I think it's a very important conversation, and I'll timestamp this for folks who are watching, in the VOD gang. Hello, VOD gang. Yeah, someone said maybe, like, I guess trying to pin it on something else as a coping mechanism, that idea of denial as a coping mechanism. But anyway, the last topic I wanted to talk about was regret, specifically Mark and his feeling of regret towards Kathy and what she had gone through. Regret is this feeling that we have, it like sadness or like anger, or this idea like, oh, like wishing that something had happened, that something that had happened differently, if that makes sense. Like feeling sadness over something that had happened. And I kind of, through this conversation, I kind of wanted to highlight the difference between reflecting, right, from an experience and learning and growing from that, and this unhealthy, like, oh, I should have done this, and beating yourself up for what you could have done when you can't go back and change the past. So again, I just want to trigger warning for self-harm and abuse as well. That's a major part of Kathy's story. So if that is triggering for you, I would say, maybe pick this up when you feel you are able to, if that makes sense. So to kind of recap what had happened with Kathy, Mark had lost his best friend Kathy in an unfortunate accident, right when she had just started to feel hopeful again for the future. But what he had not realized was that she had been self-harming because of I'm assuming emotional abuse. There may have been other kinds of abuse, like maybe she did get physically abused. But from what I could get from the game, it was that feeling of unworthiness that her parents had for her that was the sort of crux of her sadness. And when she had passed, Mark would keep telling himself things, and I wrote this down. These are quotes from the game. I should have seen it coming, right? Was I paying enough attention? I wish I did better. I wish I could have saved you. I don't know what I wish I did. And this is a feeling of regret, right? Mark feels like responsible, like if I had done something, if I had recognized, that she was burning and hurting herself because the pain that she had felt was so immense, right? Maybe if I had recognized that, I could have done something about it. I could have changed, that the sadness that she had felt. And because how it turned out was that she'd felt sad for so long, but she began to feel hopeful again. But it was an unfortunate. Actually, I don't know. I haven't figured out yet if her death was an accident, right? There was an incoming car, because he did mention like, oh, she wanted to be a sprinter, so maybe that was the game sort of hinting like, maybe like she should have been able to avoid that, but maybe that is something that shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Because she had wanted to be a racer, she wanted to be a sprinter. But we find out later that she did have some sort of hope, right? And I don't know, maybe the experience of her parents, ruining her prom night and getting upset with her, maybe that reversed a lot of that hope that she had felt leading up to that evening. And maybe she had made that reckless decision. Or it may have been a complete accident. We don't know. I don't know. But I think he felt really responsible for the events leading up to that. So, again, that's just a game theory, right? That she could have easily avoided that truck. Because remember the conversation that he has to himself during that moment. She wanted to be a racer. She wanted to be a sprinter. Like it makes sense to me now. Or maybe it was just an accident. But yeah, so let's talk about regret. Sorry, I haven't been reading the super chats. Let me. I kind of just wanted to focus more on the conversations. And yes, it was. I think when we addressed this earlier, she was being abused by her parents. I think that was addressed pretty early on. And I think in this conversation, I think because in the game you see her like self-harming. In another case, it could be that she had received her burns and her scars from her family. I think specifically in this game, what they tried to highlight through that, I don't know if I would call it a montage, was that the emotional abuse that she'd experienced from her parents was leading her to self-harm. But because, again, abuse is more than just physical abuse. And like I said earlier, it may have been the case that she was also being physically abused, but in the game they also discuss her self-harm. So just wanted to make the point that abuse is something that could appear in different ways. I never got vibes from her that she had ever self-harmed. Oh, well, because I thought I saw her in one of the images self-harming. So, I don't know, maybe that was a misinterpretation. Because I think it was this still from right before she was bandaging herself. Whether she was or she wasn't. Details, right? I think the sort of message is there. I think she said she tried really hard to escape that. She did say it was like her trying to be with her friends was a really big way that she tried to escape that abuse from her parents. That is, self-harm is another way that people may try to escape from the pain that they may have experienced from their abuse at home. Whatever the case may be. whatever the case may be. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Mark felt responsible. That he wasn't able to recognize this abuse that she was going through. He felt guilty that he wasn't able to recognize the signs and do something about it. And so he felt responsible for her death. And I think at some point, we mentioned the difference between being able to reflect in a healthy way and the difference between that and being stuck in a cycle of what ifs. Of course, what could I do better, right? You want to learn from your past, right? You want to grow and improve yourself, and you want to be able to inform yourself for future experiences. You obviously don't want to go through that again. But you have to recognize when you're going from trying to have a constructive sort of experience to that whole like beating yourself up for something that you can't change. Because you can reflect positively, right? Now I know, right, what this looks like. Now I know what, someone who may be suffering from abuse might look like. Now I know what I could do in the future. That's more productive of a reflection than bringing yourself down, right? Because one thing leads to a positive outcome, right? In the future, you'll be more prepared. You can be there for your loved ones. And the other one is making the issue worse, right? Now you're grieving even more. Now you're suffering even more. And I think a major conversation here is this idea of self-forgiveness, right? And I think that's a really important thing to have when you're having these sort of like reflections, right? Because I feel like it's, pretty easy when you're having these sorts of like, what can I do better in the future? It's really easy to fall into, self-hatred. And I think as you go through these reflections of how you can be better in the future, being able to forgive yourself, your past self for, things that you may not have been able to control, things that you weren't able to see, things that you didn't do, being compassionate to yourself when you're feeling regret, I think is really important. I think also too. I think we talked about this a little bit in Orange. Is that when you support someone or you try to support someone, understanding that there are limits to what we can do for other people. Because again, that mindset of like, oh, I should have, if I had done this, I could have fixed it. Right? I could have, this whole thing would have been fixed. This wouldn't have happened if only I did this, if only I did that. And I think putting that weight on yourself, that responsibility on yourself, I think being able to understand that limit helps you from putting all that responsibility on yourself, right? There's only so much we could do for one another, and sometimes you have to accept that some things are just out of your control, right? I think that sort of thinking can help you sort of curb those feelings of like, if I'd done this, I would have fixed it. It's all my fault, right? if I had done this, I would have been able to prevent this from happening. I think that idea of, some things are out of our control, there's only so much we could do, right, can help relieve that burden when you're having these reflection moments. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. What are my other notes? Let me look. Um, mm-mm-mm. Mm. I think one thing that is important, I think, in trying to heal from these feelings of regret is communicating with people. And I've said this a lot before, but I think a lot of the times, like, we understand logically, like the things that I've said, like maybe we understand that logically, but sometimes in the moment, emotions can win out over reason. And I think just being able to talk to other people about your grief and your regret can help pull you out of that and kind of help you process. And maybe again, people may be able to offer their support for you. But proper communication can be very difficult. But I think, like how I kind of just take my bullet points and I, word soup, a word sort of word vomit, I guess. I think in any sort of way, rather than bottling it up. Maybe it's not the cleanest sort of like written essay, but being able to share with someone, like, this is what I feel. I feel like I'm responsible for this, or I feel like I should have done something. Someone could be there for you to help. If you aren't able to have the conversation with yourself in your head, right? Maybe no matter what, you try to tell that to yourself, but for whatever reason you can't believe it. Hearing it from someone else may feel more grounded in reality, and help you to, like really cement those ideas. But yeah, I think it's really important to honor your feelings and your emotions, but don't let them keep you from moving forward, right? Your sadness and your anger shouldn't chain you down. You should feel them and allow them to, not shape, I guess be lessons that can lead you into the future with purpose and with, like, meaning, I guess, right? Rather than thinking over and over again about what you could have done, what you wish you did, right? Because you can't change the past. Rather than be so focused on what you wish you did, the what ifs, things like that, focus on what you can do now, right? Like, how can you be there for your friends in the future when you see something similar going on? How can you support people now who may also be grieving? But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say in terms of regret. I did also want to talk a little bit, going back on the signs of abuse and or self-harm. Kathy had mentioned that she was being abused by her parents. That she had a not great home life. I think one of the major signs was avoiding wanting to go home. We saw that when we were shopping with Kathy. And Mark kept saying like, "Hey, do you need to go home? Like, you know, your mom. I heard that conversation on the phone. You know, like we shouldn't go to the fireworks. I think it's time for you to go home. Like we have been here for a while." And Kathy was like, "No, no, no, it's fine, it's fine." I think that was one of the signs. I think even early on, like chapter 1, even remember when she was like in her pajamas. Like, why are you in your pajamas? Like maybe she like was at home and she didn't want to be there. I think avoiding home is a really major sign that someone is experiencing an abusive home life. I think Kathy is also very much like, I wouldn't say she is a people pleaser, but I think someone had said this, like, I think she really tries her best to be very positive at school or in public settings. And maybe so much so that she's trying to cover up her sadness or make up for her sadness, and the anxiety and the fear that she feels at home. Yeah. That's another, I guess, sign. Uh, Anxiousness. I think specifically when talking about her family, right? In the times where she has these phone conversations, on the phone with her parents or with her brother. When Mark was texting her brother and he brought it up, you could tell she was feeling anxious. You could tell she was very fearful, about her family. So that's like another thing. Trying to think of other parts that we've seen, and of course, if you all want to share, maybe not specific to the game, these sorts of signs. Um, mm, I think she was also very dismissive about talking about her family. I think specifically in the text messages with her brother, she kind of waved it off like it's fine, it's fine. Like I don't want to talk about that. Um, mm, yeah. Um, I think I think another major sign that we didn't really see this until she like told us, but that idea of not feeling worthy, right, as a product of her parents telling her that she's not worth something. Um, being and that could look like um, self-criticism, uh, feeling like maybe I don't deserve friendship or I don't deserve love. Um, Sort of like negative self-talk. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Try to think of what else. Yeah, specifically to the game, I'm trying to think of other ones, but there are various signs, I think. And I think one of the signs, whether it's abuse or self harm, injuries, unexplainable injuries. I think I remember when she showed up and she had like bandages on her face. She was like, "Oh, it's from baking." Maybe I haven't baked enough, baked goods, but you don't get scratches on your face from, you know, from baking. And it's a very likely possibility that it was her parents that caused those injuries. Yeah, so she was like, "Oh, it's just an accident." You know, doesn't make much sense, right? Um, mm, uh, one thing we mentioned is her wearing long sleeves, uh, even though it was hot, or like wanting to wear something that covers her like arms specifically, but legs as well. Um, and we'll talk about this in a second, Boogie, how we could broach this subject because it is a very scary thing to talk about with someone. Um, what was I saying? But yeah, things like wanting to wear things that will cover up their skin, even if it might not be weather appropriate. Um, we had mentioned earlier with bandages, or wounds that might still be healing. Um, they might sort of indicate a pattern or a cycle of either abuse or self harm. Mhm. Mhm. Mm. The wiki says that it's heavily hinted that Catherine has abusive parents. Burnt cigarette marks in her arms and slit on her nose can be seen. Both her parents were giving her physical punishment. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Mm. Mhm. But what do we do about if we notice these, right? If you notice whether it's a physical sign or an emotional sign of either abuse or self harm, whatever the case may be, it's a very difficult thing to broach and talk about. So how do we sort of have these conversations with people? Um, I think being gentle and non-judgmental and non-confrontational. I actually, this is I'm going to link something. Um, oh my goodness, let me see. Where is um a friend of mine, Mr. Aegis, actually did a panel for connectivity. Let me get that playlist pulled up real quickly, about mental health first aid and how we as lay people, right, ordinary, friends and family, classmates, coworkers, how we can support someone in crisis. And he can definitely go more into depth about this. Go watch his presentation. I'm grabbing it right now. But one of the things he had mentioned is like making sure that you are in a space that, thank you, Shiny, for the link. I really appreciate that. Um, so, whatever I say, go watch Mr. Aegis. If I say something that's contrary to Mr. Aegis because I forgot, go listen to Mr. Aegis first. He prepared a whole presentation, and he's a lot more qualified than I am. I'm just a regular girl. I'm just a layperson, right? Kind of offering my thoughts, right? Not professional advice, my personal thoughts, as someone who has supported a friend through difficult times like these. Um, make sure when you do initiate this conversation that you are in a private space, you are in a safe space, a space that isn't stressful. Like, if they're sensitive to noise, sensory overload is very much a thing that could cause extra stress on something that's already very difficult and may already be causing the person stress. So, create that safe environment, right? If you do decide to talk about it, um, you know, express your concern gently, right? Like, what is it that caused you concern? Um, and listen without judging. I think one thing that may keep people from having this conversation, even with their loved ones, even with their friends, um, is that sort of feeling of fear of being judged, or fear of being isolated, or shame. Shame is a huge thing. Um, yeah, that's a great point, Bio. I'll add that to one of the later points, because that's a really good point. Um, listen without judgment. Let them share their feelings, their experiences. Don't try to interrupt. Again, we talked about this before. Don't try to interrupt with solutions right away. Don't try to tell them, oh, just cheer up. Validate how they feel. Let them know that you're listening, that you're there for them, that they're not alone, that you believe them. Right? That's a really important thing. Again, another reason why people may not bring it up is because they may feel like people won't believe them. Right? You offer support. Like I said, let them know that you're there for them. Whether it's just talking, figuring out solutions, finding resources, seeking professional support, or maybe support in other ways, other services. But the important thing is you ask them, because I'm going to go back to the point that you were saying, Bio, is this idea of autonomy. Give them a space that has an easy way out. Same thing with a conversation. If they don't want to talk about it, if they need to, step away, if they're not ready to have this conversation again, maybe they might be overwhelmed, or maybe they don't trust you quite. And that's not something you should take to heart, right? Because they're going through something. Respect their pace, respect their space. Exactly. Don't be forceful. Exactly. Respect their autonomy. Don't go calling police. Don't go calling, don't be like, oh, do you want to, you should do this, you should do that. Like, you should press charges. It should be something that they have control over, right? Respect their autonomy, because it's very likely that they already have been having someone or some people take that autonomy away from them. When having these conversations, it's really important to know that, this idea of shame, right? Not wanting people to know that you're going through this, right? Make sure the person knows that everything that they're saying to you in confidence is going to be kept private. Unless, of course, there's like a safety, immediate safety issue, right? You don't want to betray their trust that they have in you. Yeah. Yeah. Good points. And it could be a very difficult. This sort of conversation is very difficult. I've had it before. And I think it's very important to think. Please go watch the video with Mr. Aegis. I think he more eloquently, with a PowerPoint and everything, right? He can more eloquently guide you through what you may or may not be able to do. But I think one thing I did want to bring up from the end of that stream is that you, as someone who is there for someone in this moment of crisis, is to also be kind to yourself, right? Once all things are said and done, in the moment, right? Check in with yourself. That's a lot to go through. We talked about this idea of regret, or like, I wish I did this, I wish I said that. Doing as much as you can to be as sensitive and, tactful and careful. You're not going to remember everything perfectly, right? You as a layperson aren't going to have the same toolbox as someone who has studied this, right, for a long time. But, I think, doing things like this, having these conversations, listening to informative material like the stream I pointed out with Mr. Aegis, that combined with you trying your best, I think after you experience these moments of supporting someone through crisis, it's important to check in with yourself as well. Do I need to take care of myself? How did I feel about this now that I've, made sure that this individual is okay, not at risk, or things like that. it's important again to have that self-compassion, because again, these sorts of things are very difficult, and it's not easy. um, hmm, yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. And Bayu, that's a great response. Like, what if you're not the right person? What if that's someone, like, what if you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know this person. Like, let's say you're in a class, you have a classmate or something, or a coworker or something. Maybe you don't know them super well, but you don't think you're the kind of person that they would trust to open up to yet. But you've noticed these things, and being there for them, right? Sitting beside them, making sure that they're safe. Making sure that they don't get super overwhelmed. Maybe if you notice something, maybe you could be like, oh hey, like maybe like help create a space for them to be safe. You know what I mean? Like maybe, I don't know, just, yeah, making sure that they don't feel like they're alone, or making sure that they don't feel very overwhelmed, and making sure that they're safe, like physically safe and emotionally, psychologically safe. But yeah, but recognizing these signs, kind of to just wrap up. Oh my gosh, it's almost been 2 hours. I know. We also wanted to look forward to this other part of the game. This is just a very important conversation to me. Being able to recognize these signs and know what we could do to offer support and care could be a major difference in someone's life, that you may, come across one day. Yeah. So, to kind of wrap up this overarching conversation, thank you so much for those out there listening and having a conversation. Whether you're here live or you're part of VOD Gang, I appreciate your open mindedness, your willing to share, your respect for each other. This is a lot of really difficult topics that we're talking about here today. And I think people, respecting other people's experiences and their perspectives, being gentle with one another, especially for those who are sharing difficult experiences. Thank you for your open mindedness. Thank you for your respect. Um, yeah, having conversations like these aren't very easy. And I may not always be the most eloquent person, but thank you for listening to me ramble. I hope that my word soup helped at least offer a couple of moments of introspection. Like I said, if this is just sort of a general conversation from my specific experiences, my specific thoughts. So if you do feel like you want to continue this conversation with a trusted individual or professional about your specific experiences, or if you have other questions, or want to kind of dive in a little deeper, maybe separate from this being a reflection on a video game, I hope that this stream encouraged you to do so. It's not easy having these conversations. Trust me, it's hard enough as it is having these conversations with myself, journaling. It's difficult, I think, going on stream and talking about these things. So I admire and appreciate your patience with me. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of times where I would just ramble or use the word in a description or a definition, but I'm glad we can have this sort of space. Thank you all for being a community in which I feel comfortable with having difficult conversations. I think, not every space on the internet is conducive to having difficult, uncomfortable conversations. So thank you all for your patience, for your understanding, for your grace. And yeah, I just walking away from this, I hope that we can be kinder to ourselves and be kinder to one another. And hopefully we have the tools to do so. Yeah. I hope we can continue to have these very profound emotional experiences with the media that we consume. Okay. Woo! How is everyone doing? I'm officially putting the pause on this one. How are we? Before we let me pull up the game actually now. I guess good call that I didn't bring it up at the beginning of the scream. Good call, I guess, that I didn't bring up the game in the beginning of stream because I spent almost 2 hours talking about. I didn't think I was going to talk about this all that long. I had a couple of bullet points and I was like, what if this isn't enough to talk about, the things that I thought about in this game, in this chapter specifically. It's like a page of my, if it was on paper, it's not. I wrote this down on my notes app. If this was on a piece of paper, I think it would have been like 1 or 2 journal pages. But I was like, I hope it's enough ramblings. I hope I can get my points across. Did you grab your tissue? I didn't. I think it's fine. It's okay. I could just wipe my tears on my shirt again. Yeah. Great. Worthy of a TED Talk. I wanted to. I already am having trouble trying to find time to edit for my other video essay series, but I would love to do a video essay series kind of talking about these emotional conversations we have in video games and in anime. Although I think one thing that scares me from doing stuff like this is I'm nervous that I don't have the knowledge or the professionalism to be able to talk about these in a clear and helpful way. Because I already have trouble remembering games, remembering and noticing details in games, because I get very hyper-focused on certain aspects of games that I'll miss. And that's just the nature of games, right? Is like, you'll miss details here and there. I'm already worried that I miss major details in games, let alone actual sort of major details in the topics they talk about, right? Because I only have my experiences as well as the experiences of the people that I've interacted with. I don't have professional education, higher education. I've had training on it, but not I don't have a psychology degree, you know what I mean? But I think there's value in opening up the conversation. And I guess I would have to kind of start with that, disclaimer. But I think it's better to have the conversation as a starting point rather than not at all. I think if everyone was so worried about saying the exact right thing, then we wouldn't be able to have these conversations. Yeah. If you could delve this deep on a live stream, I would be excited to what you could put in a video essay. That's true. I guess if I wrote out my thoughts a little bit more rather than just my bullet point ramblings, kind of, because I did kind of go back and forth, didn't I? I think, maybe it could be a little bit more useful. But yeah, thank you for having that conversation with me. I haven't opened up the game yet. Oh, it's okay. One moment, uno momento, por favor. Wow, my goodness. But yeah, I think if yeah, yes, I kind of used up all my brain cells. I apologize. Yeah. Okay, the game is loading, but I think I messed it up. I think I have to load it from Steam, otherwise the audio here. You know what? I'll do it like this. I'll open up Steam, click play, and then I think that should fix the audio issue. Yeah. But yeah, always happy to have these conversations. The reason why I didn't do it yesterday was because I wanted to gather my thoughts first. I think I was still very sad from initially. I'm a crybaby. I cry easily from works of media that I consume. I remember I went to go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I had to before I hopped in the car to drive back home from the movie theater, I had to dry my ears so I wouldn't be a danger on the road. Oh my gosh. You think you did something similar after finishing Toradora? Oh my gosh. True and real. Okay, let's go ahead and switch to the game. Thank you for opening a space to talk about these things. Of course! And again, I've said this before. Thank you all so much for being patient with me and allowing me to have these conversations. Again, I'm just a girl, and I may not be able to say things the most eloquently. I may not have all the information, that I need, right? But I hope I could start these conversations with you all. And I hope that I can continue to, provide these spaces and also learn, just as an individual, right? Learn and grow and share those learnings and share those experiences with you all. Because we're never done growing, right? And there's so much left still I have to learn and experience. And I hope I can share those things that I learn and experience with you all, so we can all grow together. Yeah. So this is after chapter 5. I actually did go into select scene, and it looks like it took us back to chapter 1. So I put chapter question mark because I have no clue. But it's new content, so I don't know if this is actually I don't remember this at the beginning of the game. So... Oh gosh. Look, I love sucking lemons. That's Mark's username. Oh, what the? Oh, okay. You can hear my clicking, my aggressive clicking. Okay, ready? Who's Hanabi14? Ready? 3, 2, 1. I think the click clacking adds to the experience, right? Oh, Hanabi disconnected. No. Victory! Is this Dark Fiends? Oh my god, I don't think I'm emotionally ready for this. Wait a minute. I swear to God, if they started this game over but specifically highlighted the points in which he could have done something different, I'm gonna be an emotional wreck today. Yeah, cause look, he's still a high schooler in this one. Oh, sorry, I thought that, okay. Okay, back to the Mark zone. Homework? Oh well, plenty of time tomorrow. This is literally chapter 1. We're literally back at it again. Martha, we are back in the building. What's that one audio? Oh my god, this is literally chapter 1. That's crazy. Oh wait, okay. Pressing escape does not go back.
I was gonna practice, but maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
This is crazy. I have to relearn the things because I keep using my arrow keys and pressing escape. Kathy.
You have to be on high alert to know when Rydell will catch you in your most vulnerable moments. Get good, Kath.
I'm gonna cry. I don't think I'm ready for this. This is crazy.
A midnight snack? Nah, I better head to bed.
Oh, this is crazy. This is insanity.
Well, there goes another successful night of making noobs cry.
Oh my god. Ah! That was really loud. I'm gonna tab out for a second so I can turn that down. Wow. Oof, that was loud. Okay.
Yet another very exciting day.
Is the volume okay? School's one station away.
Oh, school's one station away, but I've always preferred trains for some reason.
Volume good? Okay. I wonder if it still says simp here. Because remember it said, like, that was the graffiti on this wall. A rat!
It's Jimmy. He brightens up my commute every day.
Wait, this is different, though. This is, like, a little different. Ah, there it is! Now we know for sure we're in chapter 1.
Mark, how's the slide deck? For what? For what?
You're joking, right? Our assignment is the catcher in the rye. Wait, what? No, it's not!
Shh. I forgot. Just kidding, Prez. I finished it yesterday. Right. We were given weeks, so it ought to be good.
Or pause! Wait! Oh, wait. What if it's like, what if it's after? Like when he's still in high school? What if it's after what happened with Kath? And what if it's a sort of like, probably not the case because it's chapter 1, but imagine they sort of like show him kind of like trying to be a better person and trying to improve his like life, you know? But I think it's back in time because it's chapter 1. We just have to get the main themes and points out.
You are the batch genius, after all.
Please refrain from calling me that.
Sorry. You can count on us.
Okay.
See ya.
Oh.
Well, this is gonna be one fun Friday. I mean, a normal one.
Oh gosh. Is it overthinking or is it game theory? It's part of the fun. I don't think it's overthinking. Hey, sir. Any amount will really help the victims of the ruling.
This is all I have.
Well, I think a little goes a long way, right? Oh, I remember this guy.
Water? Snacks? I got everything for you, kid. You got a presentation on Salinger in there?
Is it Salinger or Salinger? What?
You got nothing for me, sir.
It's just a Rita theory. It's just a theory. A Rita theory. Here we go. From what I recall, Catcher in the Rye is about a guy recalling series of events that caused him to go insane. Whoa. What about Crime and Punishment? I already forgot. Oh, gosh. Whoa. Are they gonna cut straight to a different scene? Okay, I was like, whoa. What? Oh no, I'm already hungry. I was like, oh, stream should be like longer than normal. We're just gonna talk for a little bit and go through this like finale chapter or whatever. And now here we are, 2 hours later, and I'm getting a little hungry. It's okay. We're gonna at least finish this chapter, I guess? That's like another 2.5 hours though, if it's the same sort of pace as before. Oh, see, this one's out of order again. Yeah, talk for a little bit. I had things I want to say. They ended up being a lot more than I thought. Okay, let's see. Single journey ticket. Niamsen. Confirm. Insert 10. And insert 5. I really do underestimate my own rambling, don't I? Okay, I got my... Did I pick it up? Did I have to click in the corner? Yeah, okay, we're good. Oh my gosh, yeah, could you imagine that? That might be an achievement. Doing all 1 pesos. Yeah, they're like, skipping a couple of things from the original chapter 1. On my way to school. Okay, maybe it'll go by a little bit faster since things are a bit different, huh? Hey, hey, hey. Here we go. Yeah, I wonder what will be different. Oh, Kathy! Please tell me you did the slides, Mark. I'm begging.
Can't make miracles happen, Kath.
Dang it! Louisa's gonna murder us! How will she fall in love with me now?
That's what you're worried about?
Oh, shut up. You're one to talk. Did you tell her? About the slideshow?
I told her I made them.
You're an absolute idiot. Okay, we can still save this. Let's get to school ASAP. Can you type fast? Wait, this is different because it wasn't Kathy that, like, did the slides with him the first time.
Oh, let's get to school ASAP. Can you type fast?
Sorry, I thought that was Kathy for a second. Do you see the way I'm typing right now?
We're screwed.
That's so funny.
Okay, not a typical Friday. I have to hurry. Now.
Okay, well, we're on the train schedule, so... Whoa, weird! Okay, good thing I have Chips here with me.
All right. You can do this.
Wow, we can do this! Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. There's still... The news seems like the same still. Oh my gosh, what is this? Starbucks. Jessica's art is different? Is it? This feeling of like scrolling through, like I really like how they allow you to scroll through. Okay. Look, this is also... No. That's the same, I think. Oh, I keep thinking to press escape. Okay. Meet me at the library!
I can't make the train go faster.
I hate you. Come here. Now! Okay, let me just... Whoop. This is weird. This is so weird. I wonder why it's Kathy instead now.
That's Ryan, one of our aspiring basketball stars.
And also the person we did the slides with, right?
Maybe he'll finally be MVP this year.
That's weird.
Huh. Why am I walking?
That's weird. I'm staying still.
Did I really think I'd be faster? Still going at the same speed everyone else is, Mark.
What the hecky? Okay, let's do this. Wait, this is weird. Tell me what we need.
Book information. Let's start with the basics. Book title and author.
Okay. What's the spelling? Oh, I forgot how to pronounce this again. Sky. Ski. What? Are we doing Salinger? Oh my gosh! Wait, because that was Crime and Punishment. doing Is it Salinger?
Oh, yeah.
Mark, get your head in the game! The typing animations. What's next?
Main idea and themes.
Life is phony?
Self-alienation.
Can you give me a shorter word?
Isolation.
Fine. You're right, made it more dramatic. Next!
The characters, of course.
How do you spell Caulfield?
Just copy-paste it.
Hey, give me a little space.
Louise is calling, hurry up!
You hurry up! Why the heck do we have to do this ourselves?
What's next?
That's your job!
It's character analysis time. I think Louise sent it on the group chat if I remember correctly.
Of course she did. She's a goddess. Look at the way that she's typing. Yeah, definitely not as fast as Ryan. Why does this have to be so slow? Come on, please. Hurry up.
Try Alt F.
Don't try Alt F4, Mark. Oh my gosh, this reminds me of when I had this like huge essay assignment with a bunch of my friends from school. And we would like work on it together at like a friend's house, and we would do that multiple times because it was a long essay. But one of the days, my friend's laptop broke, and we had to take her to the laptop store or the electronics store. We had a group trip in solidarity to get it fixed with her. Are you out of your mind? It's not even saved yet. Hello?
Holy.
We're dead. We're actual corpses. We're actual dead corpses. Pardon? Louise,
I can explain.
Explain to Sir. He's just arrived and we're first to present. Oh, no Dark Fiends conversation? Okay. Dead corpses. Derek, no! Goodness.
She's a real handful, but when she meows, it's like all my anger melts away. This is terrible. I should have just told the truth. Louise is already furious at me for last time's report. What am I gonna do now? What do we do?
Die. Kathy, no. That's a little too meta there, Kath.
Okay. Really, though?
Wing it, I guess?
Think we can pull it off?
Probably not.
Yeah. We're goners.
It's an honor to die by your side.
Miss Borgia and Miss Portillo? If you're done whispering among yourselves,
Sorry, sir.
you may begin.
Uh-oh. Oh, Kathy's USB! Oh, we have to do this thing again, huh? There we go. This is crazy. I forget it's space and not click. Look at the slide deck. Group 1 rapport, T3.
Yeah. Hi, classmates. We're here today to do our presentation on, The Grapes of Wrath by...
We're here to present on The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger.
Right. Just kidding.
Oh! You spelled Splatoon wrong there, Kat. The book explores themes of self self-awareness. No, sorry. That's alienation. My bad. The book deals with coming-of-age themes, disillusionment, and self-alienation as a means of protecting oneself. That's crazy. That's so meta. Dun dun dun. Yeah. That too. The main character, Holden, uses his alienation as a shield to hide his true pain. Oh!
Where's the rest of the slides?
I'd like to know too, sir. I was told the slides were finished yesterday.
I'm so sorry. The laptop was...
No! You were so close to actually apologizing! Well, it was acting up earlier, but you could also tell the whole truth.
The laptop was acting up earlier, and... Do you need more time? It seems you're not prepared, despite all the time I gave you.
We're really sorry, sir.
I was expecting a lot from your group, Miss Ordunia. You will present next week.
Thank you for your consideration, sir.
Please do better next time around. And Louise, please make sure you're not doing all the work.
Yes, sir.
Miss Borgia and Miss Portillo, I'll need you two to pick up the slack. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Be seated and let someone prepared present. Oof. Louise? I'm really sorry. I promise we'll have the slides ready on Monday. If there's any way I can make it up to you...
Save your apologies, Mark. You failed to do your part. Not only that, but you had the audacity to lie to me. I'll do the slides myself. Oh. Yikes. Not good. Shouldn't have lied, Mark. Shouldn't have lied. I wonder if he'll do the art project, or forget to do the art project again.
Well, that went terribly. Louise is probably at some club meeting. I'm gonna book it if I don't want to die.
Do you really want to book it? Well, I don't know. Like run in the halls again? Oh wait, I have to press this button instead. Hey! Oh my gosh. Caught me.
Man, it never ends on a good note with this girl. She's the only classmate left I haven't had a chat with. I guess there's always that one person. But maybe this time I'll pull it off.
Oh.
Hey there, Jessica.
Oh my god! Jessica! We talked to her the first time too, right?
What's up? Jessica?
Disguise.
Of course. I just wanted to say, that crystal art thingy you posted, I love it. Good job.
Oh. You even hit like on it, but that isn't meant to be admired. It is to be feared.
What? Ugh.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember she went missing.
You know what? Something's telling me I'm not gonna get anywhere with that conversation.
Okay. Interesting.
Ooh. Is this another preteen breakup letter?
Dear May, I have you, May, back my Queen Elsa pencil, or we are no longer friends. Regards, Jen.
Poor gal. Jen needs to let it go. I'll just say, that letter writing lesson was retained very well.
I hope you all don't mind me munching. I didn't think I was going to be talking that long. Okay. Okay, prom. Oh. Okay, the piano club auditions. Okay. Okay. Aww! Look at the thing at the corner. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. That's cute. I like that. I'm eating potato chips. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting. That's not back. That's spacebar. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, interesting.
This sold like hotcakes on its first week. Too bad no one's into super artificially sweet coffee anymore.
Wait. Interesting. Ho-ho! My partner in crime!
And punishment, apparently.
Or Grapes of Wrath. What's with messing up the book a bunch of times?
I don't even know. I keep remembering wrong for some reason.
I can't believe Louise hates us. How will she ever agree to be my prom date now?
There's always Jaggy.
Now.
Remember?
The one you love.
Oh, Jaggy, please love me.
I never said that.
Really? Because I distinctly remember...
Shut your mouth if you know what's good for you.
Clearly I don't. Or I would have done the slides. This sucks. Tell me about it.
Where did you come from?
Did you also totally mess up your presentation today?
And completely eradicate any chance you had with your one true love in the process?
Jaggy? Well, ha! Got him.
Shut!
No, I didn't. I don't have a one true love.
I don't believe you. I see you with different girls all the time.
Huh? Like who?
Angel at the mall, Alex outside that bar, and Trixie on a freaking bed?
Rydell, I am aghast! Aghast, I say! What did you think I was doing? Obviously, it was a shoot. A likely story? See if I ever take your profile pics again.
So, why are you miserable too? If it's really not lovesick woes.
I'm just having trouble with the film I told you guys about. Yeah, how's that going? I've been talking to some producers, and some seem a little interested.
That's awesome, man. Congrats. You're amazing. What's wrong? Oh, see? Oh, it's like, do I add on to that? Oh gosh. I'm gonna say you're amazing. And then he can tell, because he was obviously gonna tell us already.
You're amazing at what you do. Of course they're interested. It's not that simple. They're not entirely convinced. Why's that? I can't seem to pin the story down. I know most of the basic stuff, the setting, the characters, but I can't get a clear idea of what I want to say. You know what I mean? Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a central theme?
Something like that. I keep changing my mind on it. Why's that? I don't know. I'm just low on inspiration these days, I guess. Then I better find it fast if I want to secure that funding.
I'm sorry, man.
That does suck.
Maybe you do actually need to fall in love to find that inspiration.
Some people don't need obsessive crushes to get by, you know.
Hey, I'm just saying. All the greatest stories are about love, right?
Debatable.
If you don't feel anything for Angel or Trixie, maybe one of the new students will top them. Oh, new students. In this timeline, Rydell is not that successful in making films. Yeah, I guess so.
Did you say new students? Tell me about it.
I really haven't pinned down a voice for Rydell yet. So you are interested.
I'm not. Anyway, shouldn't you be fixing your own problem? That's true.
Ugh, we're already goners.
There. Next time we should have a study session together or something.
That's not a bad idea.
We're totally just gonna play video games, though. Yeah, probably.
Yep. They know themselves. Okay. Okay, group 1.
Hey guys, I'm really sorry again about the report. I really let you guys down. I've finished the slides now.
Oh, like, this time around he's, like, owning up to, like, his mistakes, you know what I mean? I wonder if that one comment Mark said has something to do with what's going on. Which comment? I'm really sorry, too. We won't let you down again, Louise. Ahoo! Louise is gonna kill us, man.
Tell me about it. I'll never forget you guys.
Oh, well. In other news, prom thingy is out. And they have all the details. Who y'all gonna dress as?
You mean if you survived that long? That's nice and all, but how much we gonna pay?
TBA.
Big ka-ching, baby.
Bet they'd serve the same frickin' cafeteria food.
Betting it's for the principal's crusty makeup.
He said that before. Rydell's profile pic is different? It is. Interesting. Kathy's is the same.
Wait, it's happening on the school grounds?
Always has been. What did I say last time? Hooray for... I'm gonna say this instead.
Hooray for school pride. That feel when you'll dance on the same floor where you do jumping jacks.
A friend alumni told me they paid $750 for their first prom, so that was 2013? Then 800 pesos last year.
What? Alumnus?
Whatever.
800?
That's crazy.
Can someone tell the principal's son about this? Oop. Can't do that.
Oop. Why, oh why? 'Cause he's still asleep. LOL. Oh.
Never gets old. It reminds me of the good old days. I wish we were still classmates. Screw this year's shuffle, man.
If we were classmates.
Louise would kill us all.
Exactly. Oh, Kathy. Oh, private message. Okay. So I was thinking, we should really try to make it up to her. Besides doing the slides, I mean. You didn't make them, right?
Obviously. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid.
Okay, any ideas, Mr. Dumb?
I did see Louise got qualified for the next round of the chess competition. That's soon, isn't it?
That's a great idea. We rig the competition in her favor.
Or we could just show up. Cheer her on. Support her.
Or we could do that, I guess. LOL. Oh, okay, Nine Pearl talking about prom again. I wonder if, Kathy and Sophia will fall in love again. This time around. I wonder if Kathy will actually be able to be with Sophia this time around. Okay, they're just talking about what they're gonna wear. I don't want to have to think about making that many voices again. There's 7 people in this group chat. 8, I guess, including myself, if it doesn't include me.
You can be Thor. No one's stopping you. It's your money. As if it's gonna be worth paying for.
Haha. Haha. XD. And before overpriced fun run. Hey Kyle, have you finished your group work? Thumbs up. Oh, and then Kyle is not responding again. I remember that. Uh-oh. Ice cold, man. Edward, you didn't need to go there, Edward. And of course, Kyle goes offline as soon as they mention the homework. And thanks for stopping by, Dawn. Good luck in class. So they're asking about news on the new students. I'm gonna just eat my chips since it's a big group chat. Charles coming in with the anyone want to buy quality umbrellas? No. Angel's like, I hope one of the transfer students replaces Kyle. No updates on the new students yet, I guess. Oh my gosh. Oh. The message is closed. He's playing piano? Oh, sorry. I clicked on the window so I could... just in case I had to do piano stuff. Dun, dun, dun. Ba-dum, bum, bum.
Ugh, this isn't working.
I wonder if in this timeline he's accepted the fact that his mom is gone, like from the beginning, you know? This makes me want to play piano. I still haven't fully figured out what's going on yet. Jeepney! This is a new scene! This is weird! Alright. We need to have a plan of attack.
For cheering her on?
Cheering? You think cheering is a good thing to do at a chess competition?
I guess not.
This is exactly my point. That's why I brought these.
Signboards?
Signboards!
At a chess competition?
They're quieter than pom-poms. Or whatever you had in mind. Interesting. Pom-poms, eh?
What should they say?
We'll figure it out later. It's gotta be really good. So she won't, you know.
Execute us?
I was gonna say ignore us. He has to get the money over to the driver.
Please?
But that's likely too. Hey, that's a bop. Oh, he's angry. The fair.
This one's something. Excuse me, don't you hear us?
Come on, man. You know what to do.
We can't miss a beat.
Just follow the groove, mister. Do I have to... Do I have to do... Okay, I thought I was gonna have to do DDR. Oh my god! Oh my god, I am! Oh, okay. Okay. Ah! 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 This is so cute. That's a lot of money. What if they're all 1 peso? Sorry we dropped 2 of your coins, sir. No way that fare is this much, right? Yay! Oh, they're so cute! Rhythm Heaven, it's like the dumpling one. Woohoo! We finally made it!
Man, I thought we were gonna be stuck passing change forever.
We did pretty good, though.
Come on, let's go find Louise.
What if she kills us on sight?
She won't.
You're right. Too many witnesses. Aw. She really is so beautiful.
Kathy, focus.
Oh, you were thinking it too. They start like, move your knight. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So, what's our strategy?
Here are our options. A, cheer her on. B, apologize. C, both.
Let's go with both.
How about we make this about not Kathy. How about we make this about Louise and not ourselves?
I'll take the apology.
A diplomatic approach. I like it. They're trying. They're really trying their best. What should mine say?
Knock him dead, Louise.
Let's not remind her of murder, maybe?
Well, what about... Go Louise. How about just go Louise?
Simple, straight to the point. I like it. What does yours say? Sorry, we're lame. Oh, that's funny, though. That's silly. We did want to do an apology, right? Apology and, go Louise, sorry, we're lame. It's kind of funny. That would make me laugh. Because we already have an encouraging, yeah, sure. But I also don't want to, I want to make this about Louise. I don't want her to get distracted. But I think she would laugh.
Sorry, we're lame?
Yes, good. It's coming together now. This is so distracting. We should think of designs. What is she like? Hellfire and brimstone, my goodness.
Friendship. Friendship? Hopefully.
Happy friendship hearts!
Shining stars.
Yeah, I like that. Whoop. That's as good as it's gonna get.
What? No, don't cause a scene.
Don't cause a scene? Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah, but, you know, after the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't distract her. Yeah.
You think she's gonna win?
She's holding her own. She's our genius, after all. Oh, he's looking side to side. Uh-oh. Hala. Something's missing. We are her friends. Why? Where are her friends? We are her friends. Something's missing.
Something's missing.
Huh? What do you mean?
I don't know.
Mark, focus. Memories. Memory. Quantum fluctuations. Quantum tsunami.
Wait. What if she loses, though? Go, Louise? Really?
You picked that for me, you dumb... Hey, look! She won! Bye-bye, dignity! They're so silly. Oh, I think she'd appreciate it. I hope so. Oh, friendship. Friendship is magic.
What are you two doing here? We wanted to support you. And apologize again. for being jerks.
You did great. The way you took that rook was really, masterful.
Thank you, I suppose. I didn't expect this. But I don't think your actions have just been forgotten.
Of course. We'll do our best to be better.
What were you doing with all your time anyway? We were given ample time for the report.
Dark Fiend, sorry.
Dark Fiends? I have no idea what that is.
Wait, that's weird, because didn't Louise play Dark Fiends? What's going on? Oh, that's a good theory. Mark's memories from the previous playthrough overlaps. Quantum tsunami!
Oh. I thought you... Never mind.
The point is, it wasn't worth it, and we're sorry. Oh, that's Louise. I suppose I appreciate your apology.
Thanks, Louise, and congratulations again. Do you have friends here? Family?
No. My family's a little busy today. But they might be at the next round. Ooh, when's that? The details should be announced soon. Is it against... Oh, that was Kathy.
Is it against Polly again?
What?
Polly? Your opponent?
How did you know she was my opponent? That was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. What the what? Weird. Wait. What? It's giving Undertale? That's crazy. Uh-oh, a stalker!
What? Didn't she forfeit?
What are you talking about?
I'm not sure.
Oh. Uh-oh. Well, this was fun. But I really should go home now. That's probably my mom calling. Oh, scared. Congrats again, Louise. And we really are sorry we're lame. Thank you, Catherine. She called me Catherine. Or I guess she called me Catherine.
Mark? Tell me more about Polly.
Uh-oh. Ding, 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 ding.
I don't really know what to tell you. I just remember something about a chess match against Polly, but she went missing.
Missing? That never occurred.
Maybe I remembered it wrong?
But that doesn't explain how you know about her at all. Did you follow my previous chess matches?
No, I swear I didn't. I just... I feel like I've been here before.
Have you experienced this before? Ah, yeah! Have you experienced this before? This kind of, deja vu?
I don't know. Have you?
I think so.
What?
We may not be the only ones experiencing this.
Experiencing what?
Oh. I don't know yet. But I intend to find out.
Okay. Is there anything I can do to help?
Why are you doing this?
Doing what? This. Coming here. Offering help. Is this all for my forgiveness?
Friendship.
Not entirely. I'm just trying to be a friend.
A friend. Well, I'm needed back home. Thank you again for coming.
Of course. I'll tell you if anything weird happens again. You'll update me on what you find?
Perhaps. Oh, yeah. Ooh, speculation now. Theorizing. Gosh. Goodness. Okay. Time to go home.
I shouldn't miss this rendezvous.
Oh, this way. Oh, I remember this. This is the end of the first chapter. With Kath at the convenience store. Are they trapped in a time loop? Things are different this time around. Okay, Dormammu, where are you? I'm here to bargain. Oh, what the what? It's not Kathy this time. It's Rydell. Interesting.
Yo. Hey, Mark.
That's two guy voices. Oh, gosh.
I'm surprised you'd settle for the low-quality coffee in this place. Nonsense. I brought my own. As expected of our resident hipster. I'm nothing if not predictable. Want some? Some people actually enjoy sleeping. Some people don't have a film to make. How's that going, anyway? Bad. I'm just not feeling very productive. I know what you mean. Oh? You know how I've been trying to learn the piano? Yeah, you mentioned that. It's just been really hard. I don't know how to explain it. I feel stuck at a wall. Man, that's exactly what it feels like. Like you don't know what you're doing it for anymore. Exactly. Look at us. Two artists floundering. I wouldn't really call myself an artist. Maybe I shouldn't either at this point.
You got this.
Come on, dude. You still got this. You're the best photographer in school. You really think so? Why else do you think Kath and I hang around you? Man, you know how to make anything look great. And here I thought you just valued my friendship. Thanks, Mark. You let me know if you ever need an ear for your piano practice, alright?
Interesting. Kathy's here again. Interesting. You know, maybe this time around, like maybe Rydell always had that issue in the beginning, but he like never bothered to tell his friends. And like maybe now in this situation, it's like Rydell is opening up to his friends about what he's going through, and like same thing with Mark. Like he's trying to tell Rydell, like, oh, because I don't think he ever brought up his whole piano thing until a lot later with his friends. Like maybe this time around they're like opening up, you know?
Pajamas? Playing to sleep at the convenience store?
I venture to always be the most authentic version of myself. So this is what you get?
Huh. I respect the vision.
I know the gang's all here. Where? See? Rydell gets it.
I think you're both just pretentious. So how'd the mission go?
It was a success, of course.
Sort of.
Louise was grateful we came to support her. Now it's just a matter of time before I sweep her off her feet.
Good luck with that. She's definitely an ice queen. I was gonna say distant, but that works.
Then it's up to me to warm her right up. Mark, I'm so glad you screwed up your chances with her by being weird.
Wait, what? I wasn't being weird.
Uh-huh. You were being a little weird. Strange memories of her and all.
Yikes. That's not what it was.
Then what was it?
I don't know. Do you ever feel like, I don't know, things aren't how they're supposed to be?
Yeah. Welcome to teenagedom.
Ugh, it's hard to explain. I think I get it. You do? I feel like I'm supposed to be something by now.
You're a teenager, what do you mean?
I'm supposed to be working on the film already. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm not living up to something.
Oh, cheer up, Rydell. You still got plenty of time.
That's just it. There's no more time. The producers have turned down my proposal.
Oh, no. Oh, buddy.
There'll be others, right? You just have to find the right fit. I can't even find the right film.
Maybe we can help you. What are you stuck on right now?
Right now, I just need to get the ball rolling. I might do some location scouting soon. Maybe if I find the right place, we'll come with you. Okay then. We'll find me some inspiration. And you two some replacement crushes.
Maybe, those new students. Their names are out.
Really?
Yeah. Here.
Kate Corpuz.
Oh my god. The last name. Was it Kate? Yeah. Wait! Is that why she stopped? Because she's related to Jake? Remember that one time they were playing the song in the piano room and Kate was outside the window and she stopped? And remember when we went to Jake's house? It had Corpuz? Interesting.
And Nicole.
That's crazy, that's crazy.
Nicole G. Luxamana. Why is that so familiar?
Two girls! This is so exciting! Let's look them up. First one's Kate Corpuz.
Corpuz? Where have I heard that before? I don't know anyone with that name.
Huh. No results. Maybe it's, Katie?
Or Catherine? Like you? Maybe she doesn't want to be found.
Who was the other one?
Nicole.
Dun, 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 dun.
You don't need to get that?
Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Nah. Not when I'm with you guys.
You sure about that, Kath? I don't want you to get in any trouble.
Huh? Man, don't worry about it. Really. Oh. There. Now it's on silent. You have my full attention.
Well, as long as you're sure. I'll let you guys know if I find a place for the location scouting. Hopefully it'll get some inspiration.
Oh, the rain. Oh, they're all together now! Interesting. I wonder... Wow.
Ah. Yes, rain. That is a thing that happens.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That happened again. Do you think she snuck out and that's why she's in her PJs? Yeah, probably. Oh, cute! I love them!
This is not built for 3. Then you should have stolen a bigger one.
Wait, remember the first time she was like, I wish Rydell was here? And now he is.
I'm borrowing. Why are we even standing here getting wet?
Because I'm a pluviophile.
A what? It means she loves the rain.
Here, try this.
Can't you just do this in the shower?
No. I don't like the water at home. It makes me feel gross.
The rain in the city...
Oh, I'm assuming that's right, Dale.
The rain in the city isn't that much better, you know?
I said try this.
Jeez, okay.
Oh, cute. So I'm in a friend group of 3 too. So this means a lot to me. One of my friend groups, the anime night group. Oh, I'm so excited for my girls' weekend.
But watch the rain off when we get home, okay?
Do you feel it? The slide of the water tracing your wrist.
Uh-huh. And?
You guys will never get it. Do you know how butterflies fly in the rain?
They don't?
That's right. They are powerless against this force of nature. If they can't find a place to hide, they tatter.
Or even die.
That's crazy, the chromatic aberration at that point. Yeah, look at you.
I guess you did actually listen in biology class. Yeah. I guess. This is what Louise was talking about.
Did I hear Louise?
Mark, you're thinking of Louise too much. That you're only shielding your side. I'm not. I'm drenched. No, you're not. I am. It's just a small umbrella.
Haha! I'm just glad we're all here.
Ew. Where's all this sentimentality coming from?
Shut up and enjoy it.
Enjoy your face.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Standing out in this rain doesn't make any sense.
Jeez.
Sorry, I just wanted to capture this.
So you are sentimental.
No, I'm an artist. Oh, there he goes again.
Mr. Pretentious Hipster.
Says the self-proclaimed pluviophile.
Oh my god. Man. I hope you never lose this.
You know what? Me too. I hope we lose the cold we're gonna get when we go home.
Shh! Don't ruin it! Close your eyes. Immerse yourself. Whoa, chromatic aberration. That's crazy. That's crazy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chapter 2. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna stop it there for today. Sorry, the first 2 hours was just us talking. But sorry, not sorry, actually. We're probably gonna go at this at a 2-chapter pace from now. Just noticing the sort of difference in chapter length now that we're apparently going through this the second time around now. Or perhaps, I don't know, maybe we've gone through this multiple times now. But yeah, very interesting. For sure. This is getting odd, but like interesting. You know what I mean? I am gonna wrap it up for today. We'll continue this again next week. Why did that sound... Okay, so like professional. But yeah, I guess before I wrap up again for the day, I just want to say thank you again for allowing me the space to have these very difficult conversations. I know I'm not like the most eloquent. I know I'm not like the most non-rambly person. I know I'm not as much of a gamer, theorizer sort of kind of person, but I am glad we had this conversation, and I hope that you were able to take something away from today. And Justin, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I very much appreciate that. But yeah, I hope this encourages you to look and think deeply and critically about the media that you consume. Of course, sometimes you just gotta enjoy media for what it is. But you know, where it's applicable and you know where you find it useful. You know, I hope you can sort of dive deep into the stories you're experiencing because it really does help you think about important things. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there for today. I'll find a raid for us all to continue the fun. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, it's only a day away. I'll see you tomorrow for Xenoblade Chronicles 2! Woohoo! Alright. But yes, as always, I'm the idol to give you the wings to fly. Cyber Angel, Rita Kamishiro at your service. And yes, just like Spidey Zen says, until then, bye! I'm still trying to find someone to raid. I'm sorry. I'm looking. YouTube just taking a while to load. Uno momento, por favor. Oh, Twice playing Duck Life. Can we raid into that? That's awesome. Sorry, 1 second. Ugh. YouTube, why are you being weird? Sorry. YouTube's being funky. Okay, there. Oh my gosh. Why is YouTube not showing up the stream? Let me try this one more time. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. Oh no. They don't allow raid privileges. That's okay. Let's just raid June. I don't know what he's playing. Just go say hi. And go say something nice. And Sig, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, opening up my perspective, and have fun together. And thank you all for, you know, sharing your thoughts with me as well. I really appreciate you. That's how we learn and we grow, right? We get everyone's ideas and perspectives, right? So, thank you all for sharing your thoughts with me and opening up my perspective. But yes, I have the raid set up, finally. And I'll see you all next time.